Well, I never thought I'd say this, but I just watched a zombie musical. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. So tonight we are talking about a zombie flick called Anna and the Apocalypse. Um, yeah, it's a zombie musical. I did a trailer review for this flick. Geez, it's got to be over a year ago. I had it sent to me. I thought it was a joke actually when I got it, when I found out it was a musical. But I watched the trailer and I loved it. I thought the trailer was fucking awesome. I mean, the blood and guts were in the trailer were fantastic. And I got thinking to myself, though, sometimes they fool you in trailers where they show you the best parts and there's not really anything else going on in the movie. That's not the case in this flick. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this thing's like a 10 out of 10, but it's definitely watchable. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of musicals, and I was a little skeptical going into this, just thinking how they're going to piece this together. But I mean, I'm not saying I don't like musicals. I love Grease. And I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time is A Nightmare Before Christmas, which is, it got, song and all sorts of stuff in it. Mind you, it's animated, but still. So I'm not opposed to it. I was just kind of curious how it was going to work in a zombie flick. And I'll tell you, it worked. It's funny, too, because there's the first act is basically we learn about everybody, which is, backstories and stuff, which is kind of how first acts work anyways. But it's got a cast of Ella Hunt, Malcolm Cumming, Sarah Schweier, Christopher LeVue, Ben Wiggins, Mark Brenton, and Paul Kay. And it's got the cast is full of everybody. I mean, there's Anna and John, who are the kind of the two main characters. And then you've got the nerdy kind of sidekicks and stuff, and the boyfriend, girlfriend. And then there's the two, always there has to be like an asshole antagonist. And there's two of them in this movie. Nick, who's kind of like the jock who has a crush for Anna. And then Arthur Savage, who's the vice principal, soon to be principal, who is just a fucking asshole through the whole movie, really. So he's kind of running the school, just, like, it's ridiculous how he runs his school. It's like by the book, everything's got to be his way. And it's just, you'll see when you watch it, but the guy's you just want to slap him every time he's on screen. So, which is good acting because that's what they were trying to pull off. Right. But anyways, so, I was wondering how they were going to pull off this being a musical. And basically it's funny, the first couple of songs in the first act, I was like, okay, this is whatever, but there was no zombies in it. Right. It was just like, there was a cafeteria scene where they were singing and stuff. And it's kind of like when they're singing, it's just like everything around them stops, you know what I mean? And they do a little dancing and singing, and it's like a musical, right? And then they get back into the story again. So whatever, first act's over. I'm thinking, okay, whatever, I'll keep going, see how this goes, right? Right now, it's nothing special. And I'll tell you something too, to be honest. This movie as like a zombie movie is nothing new. It's just your standard zombie flick. You've got your high school students. Anna's graduating. She wants to travel abroad. Her dad's who is the janitor, doesn't want that. He wants her to go to university right away. So they're bickering back and forth. I mean, John's got a crush on Anna, who they're best friends. Nick's got a crush on Anna, who's like the asshole jock, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So, and then that's what happens. They're just finishing off their school year and getting ready for the Christmas play and all this stuff. And during the Christmas play, there's an outbreak. They give a little tiny snippet on the drive to school. First thing in the film there, when Anna's dad's driving them to school, it's like a news broadcast just saying there's some sort of a virus going around that they can't find out a cure for it or something like that. And that's the only hint you get about a zombie apocalypse. So if you didn't know this was a zombie movie, you'd have no indication as to what's going on when the second act starts, when all the zombies start coming in. But it's funny too, because there's a lot of nods to zombie movies, and if you can pick them all out, most definitely is Shaun of the Dead, because there's in the second act, actually the very beginning of the second act, right around the 25-minute mark, when she gets up in the morning, is going to school, her and John kind of do a song together at separate parts of where they live, and kind of meeting at the same place. But as they do it, it's very reminiscent of Shaun of the Dead when he's walking to the variety store to get his junk food or whatever, and the apocalypse is broken out, and she's kind of oblivious to everything going on around her because it's all kind of taking place behind her as she's walking. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of funny. But yeah, and that's how this movie is done. It's just, you get your action sequences and then they break into song, and then there's action sequences and then they break into song. When the action starts though, there's not a lot of like singing going on. So that was fine. You know what I mean? And the action itself, I mean, there's tons of blood and guts in this movie. So, I mean, I have to say that this is a definite positive if you're a zombie fan. The zombies are fucking cool. They're not these fast running, super zombies. They're just, George Romero shambling around zombies, blood. The effects are really cool. You know what I mean? And that really worked for this, and it kind of saved me and brought me in because I love that style of zombie, and I hate these running zombies. So I was drawn in there, and then with all the nods to the other zombie movies too, I spent a lot of time just trying to pick out the different scenes from the graveyard scene to the Shaun of the Dead scene. Even at near the end, there's an homage to Day of the Dead, George Romero's Day of the Dead, when they pull roads apart. It's I don't want to give spoilers or anything, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's nothing new. The story is pretty much just your basic run of the mill zombies trapped in a school. Gotta try and find a way out, and shit happens. It's pretty much it's nothing. They're not reinventing the wheel here, but it's a musical, and I mean, I don't know. I didn't hate it. It worked. The acting was fucking great. I'll tell you, you can really tell when actors and actresses want to do a movie or when they're just mailing the performance in. And unfortunately, that happens a lot in horror movies where it's just, terrible acting and they just want to be there for a paycheck. But it just seemed like everybody involved in this movie wanted to be involved in this movie, which is great, and it really did help. So to give a rating, I would probably give it like a 7, maybe a 6.5, 7. It is something different. Nowadays, to sell a movie that's been done a million times before, you have to have something different. So the musical aspect, don't be afraid of it, especially if you're a man. You know what I mean? Like, whatever, dude. Just give it a shot. Really, I think you'll like it. There's a couple songs they could have maybe done without, but for the most part, it works. And if you're a Gore fan, you're going to love this movie because there's lots of fucking, gore in this flick. So, and it's just basically just boils down to a good classic zombie movie with good acting, and it's got a couple musical bits in it. So I really think it does work. Now, I don't know when this thing's getting released, video on demand and Blu-ray. I have no idea. I've tried to look it up, and there's nothing other than it got released back in November. So, like I always do, if you want to hop over to my Facebook page, I'll leave links in the description box. Just sign up to Happywax TV on Facebook. Whenever I do get release dates, I try and post them there. Sometimes they, release dates are funny. Sometimes, they're plastered everywhere. And then other times like this movie, you kind of got to hunt around for them. So I don't know if the distributor's taking their time or what, but I don't have a legit release date for this movie as far as video on demand goes. So, but anyways, I would say definitely check this out. I'd give it like a 6.5, 7. It's a fucking musical, but it's got lots of blood and guts and, good acting and actors and actresses that really want to be a part of this flick. So, and the gore is great, man. When it gets gory, it gets, and there's lots of zombies in this movie too. It's not one of these movies where, they have a cast of like 10 zombies and that's it. There's lots of zombies in this movie. So I really did enjoy this. So anyways, guys, if you've seen it, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of it. And if you haven't seen it, but you're going to watch it, then come back and leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. So anyways, movie's called End of the Apocalypse. I think it's okay. Definitely worth a watch, guys. And until next time, stay scared.